The Dungeons and Dragons controversy has been expanding across all social media platforms as Elon Musk chimed in last week when Grums brought it to his attention that they're attacking Gary Gygax, calling him racist, sexist, all of that. I was surprised, actually, when I commented on Heidi Gygax's comments on this situation, where she literally called her father sexist and literally attacked Christianity as something regressive. That I got a little pushback on it because people just want to believe, I guess, in these people because I guess she's related. But she is one of those woke feminists, and of course, she is on the Gamers for Harris list of people who are trying to pressure the industry into voting for Kamala Harris. So it was kind of a nasty thing seeing what she was doing yesterday. Well, it's getting worse as now they're slashing the price of this Dungeons and Dragons manual, or I guess it's not a manual, it's a history book that is attacking Gary Gygax in the wake of this, like trying to fire sale this away. And on Blue Sky, they're urging people to buy this to, quote, own Elon Musk. It's hilarious stuff. We're going to get into this in just a moment. My name's John Arroz, everybody. Smash that like and subscribe button as we talk about all things in pop culture. I am a longtime tabletop gamer, and my favorites, by the way, are 7th Sea and L5R. If you guys know what those are, leave a comment in the description. That you're my people. Those are some niche games from a long time ago. But I played D&D since I was a kid, of course, and I am a fantasy author myself. And so if you like that style of adventuring, if you like swashbuckling fun, First Demon Country is going to be for you. This steampunk series is really, really awesome. It's about an airship crew that is just traveling around and gets into adventures against monsters. I mean, it is pretty simple on the level of D&D and definitely inspired by a lot of that stuff. So you will absolutely love this. This is a 6-book series, really opens up a big war kind of brews into the first trilogy and more. So check this out. Grab it. It's a great Christmas gift for anybody. It is all ages. There's no weird stuff in it. No woke stuff in it either. And so check it out. It's in the description below. You can get it in ebook, print, and audio. Thank you guys for making this such a huge success. We've had a couple of our best sales days ever, all because of viewers like you. And RPG players read, believe it or not. So it's great stuff. I appreciate you. So this came out yesterday along with the Heidi Gygax story that they're slashing the prices of this original Dungeons and Dragons book that is causing the full controversy right now. And I love that this is coming across in the zeitgeist. We first reported on this back in June when this was coming out, and absolutely a just terrible thing that they've done, this revisionist history trying to trash the original creator of Dungeons and Dragons. And it's gone forward. All the wokeites on Blue Sky are throwing a fit, saying Gary Gygax is this terrible person. It's like, wow, you owe your entire careers to this guy. You guys would not have an industry at all if it were not for him. You guys are insane. But that's what they are. They're insane. It's all about erasing the past intentionally because these people are talentless hacks. They cannot make contributions to society that mean anything. So what they do is they copy-paste, and then they kind of file some of the serial numbers off and make it woke. And then they claim that they're the creators, right? They're the ones that you should be acknowledging. It's all narcissism, right? Of people who don't have the talent. So this made the rounds, as I mentioned before, and in the preface of this, he attacks Gary Gygax. It says, some of the language in the first iteration of D&D presents a moral quandary. The documents reproduced in this book include many pages of charts and tables alongside lists of monsters and spells and magic items, but that game content also includes a virtual catalog of insensitive and derogatory language, words that are casually hurtful to anyone with physical or mental disability, or who happens to be old, fat, not conventionally attractive, indigenous, black, or a woman. Gosh, they had to get every single victim class in there, don't they? Pretty good. He continued, some people have charitably ascribed this language to the authors working from bad assumptions. In the 1970s, historical wargamers in America were predominantly white middle-class men. It isn't surprising that they would double-class as soldiers the fighting man. Now, fighting man has typically been a word for soldiers that's been used back in World War II and more. It is standard language, and of course, these people are trying to change the language because it's supposed to be fighting person, because it says man, that's terrible. That's just called the English language, and I get that you're trying to change and corrupt that along with everything else, but just get over yourself and stop panicking, you freaking snowflake weirdos. Gosh, pisses me off. But when in the pages of Greyhawk, the description of the Queen of Chaotic Dragons includes a dig at women's lib, the misogyny is revealed as a conscious choice. It's an unfortunate fact that women seldom appear in the original D&D, and when they do, they're usually portrayed disrespectfully. He went on, slavery appears in the original D&D not as a human tragedy, but that devastated generations over the centuries, but as a simple commercial transaction. The cultural appropriation of the original D&D ranges from bewildering to the staggering. Gods, demigods, and heroes. It includes game statistics for sacred figures revered by more than 1 billion people around the world. Were players expected to fight Vishnu, one of the principal deities of Hinduism, kill him and loot his +3 sword of demon slaying? It's always been a game, though, about people choosing to be someone unlike themselves and collaborating with strangers to become friends. And as it goes on, it became more inclusive. That's right, more diverse. The pool of creators and gender identity backgrounds, yes. Now, if you look at Wizards of the Coast, it's still 95% just white dudes, kind of scrawny, weird dudes at this point, but they are mostly white dudes. And that's the deal. And they kept attacking this guy, person of color gamer. He actually, again, these people make their entire brand about their identity because that's all they can do. That's the only way they can get attention. They're not going to get hired based on their merits, so you got to call yourself POC. Never be afraid to have a bad opinion or support shit takes. Musk has decided to dip his toes into D&D, defending known and self-avowed bioessentialist Gary Gygax, because recognizing sexism and racism as problems is, check notes, bad in his guise. The problem that you have is nobody's actually freaking racist or sexist here. Now, I know that that Gary Gygax's daughter gave these people fodder the other day by calling her father sexist in a weird defense of him. But again, it's just nonsense all the way around. Now, what we noticed here, as this was going on, here's a VTuber who talks D&D, who's on Blue Sky. This is forced outrage. He's throwing a fit because the 50th anniversary making of D&D book has sidebars saying some of the content doesn't reflect what D&D is today. Slurs misogyny. Again, it's just accusing Gary Gygax of all this stuff, which is BS. But what is this? Honestly, I look at this in the new modern D&D content, not just the history of D&D book. I see this as a slur. I mean, it's so crazy. This kind of stereotypical crap making orcs into Mexican people. It's insane. That's what these people do as quote representation, and it is just sickness. It really is, and it needs to go away. Well, the thing is, this book is not doing very well, and it's been an absolute disaster because now that it's been brought to attention, they're trying to liquidate it. It looks like. So there's a full blog about this, and this Shannon Appelkline writes history of D&Ds as well. On Blue Sky, another woke weirdo talking about this. Continuing his attempt to win the Guinness World Record for the most ignorant billionaire, Elon Musk is now parroting the criticism of the making of the original D&D. Yeah, it did come out in June on this, and people were talking about this back then, but it's now been brought to Elon's attention, so it's really been making the cultural zeitgeist a new thing, and I love that this is getting attention in the mainstream because it needs to be said. The normies need to find this, and Elon's going to help that happen, and then hopefully we can purge wokeism from this hobby. Here's the thing. You cannot talk about D&D history without discussing something like Oriental Adventures, whose very name is problematic today. Well, Oriental Adventures, if you guys remember, I mentioned L5R at the beginning of this video. That's Legend of the Five Rings. It was a game and a setting, which I am way an expert on this setting, so I'm very happy to talk about this. That is all about revering Asian culture. Actually, it was made by a bunch of weebs who were super into anime and the like, and just really wanted to honor Japanese culture and make their own D&D style fantasy land with magical samurai. It's freaking awesome, but they don't like the name Oriental. It bothers them, and that was actually just the terminology that people used at the time, and that was the preferred terminology. It changes on a daily basis so that they can always be perpetually offended. But when they took this, they took that setting of Legend of the Five Rings and installed it into D&D D20. I actually like the Legend of the Five Rings game system much better, but that's another story. And it was wonderful. And it actually, a lot of those books, the clan books that were used in those, really built out the world of L5R to a much greater degree than had ever been done before. It was really fantastically done. They took great care for each of the clans and the different aspects of Asian culture in that. It was not racist. It was quite the opposite. And so these people are insane because, again, the name is problematic today because they changed changed the language of what's preferred. Now you have to be Asian American instead of Oriental. Well, sorry. I mean, it's the same thing. Just get over yourself and stop being a pathetic nightmare snowflake. That's all it ends up being. But like I said, it's not selling. So somebody pointed out the making of OD&D is now on sale after this controversy at half off, the lowest I've ever seen. So they are absolutely attempting to liquidate this on Amazon. They've got a bunch of them in their warehouses. It wasn't selling because people are not interested in this kind of content. And this is what these historians who are working with the D&D properties say. Show Elon Musk what you think of his ignorant criticism by buying a copy at 50% off. Well, that's not the own of Elon that you think. Like, they can't give this stuff away for free, and that's where they're at today. Very, very funny stuff. And then what's interesting is Grums is now getting on noticing what's happening at Gen Con, the big gaming convention. Gen Con, who was also founded by Gary Gygax, became the biggest gaming convention in the world. And if you look at it, Gen Con doesn't mention him, doesn't say anything about him. And you can see Gen Con is grounded in equality, diversity, and borderless joy. I've been calling out these weirdos for years, and I'm very, very happy this is making it into mainstream culture, as I said. And I pointed out to Grums here as I talked about this. Gen Con doesn't very much like my reporting on the topic now, do they? Very, very funny. Follow me on X, guys. Hit the like and subscribe button here. All those links are in the description below for you. And I'm also going to add my For Steam and Country. It's a 6-book series, so go through and grab the whole series, guys. It really builds up nicely. Like I said, great Christmas gift for everybody. It's in the description below. Thank you so much for supporting fantasy, and I appreciate you. We'll be back soon.